one of the things that I've learned from Mo is that some of us are born alone, and some of us lose something in our lives that makes us feel alone. And that can be a person or our health or anything, even our career or our work. And what we tend to do when we feel alone is that we isolate even further. We seek to hide away in that place. But from talking to so many different people, what I found is that the way to manage that or change that is to do the opposite of what we're feeling, which is to reach out to others, to communicate, to be a part of something, to engage in community and communicate. That will make all of the difference, according to most of the people I've spoken to.
What do you think the joy is of comedy, of laughter, of
laughing at
fun?
ourselves and the stupidity of life? It's
just
ridiculous.
It's freedom.
Ridiculous. I'm in a print studio with the film crew. How ridiculous is that? No. Improv is specifically, and you're an actor, so you know, so it's cathartic because you draw on that part of yourself, or you bring it to life, that part of yourself that doesn't normally get an airing. That really bad part of ourselves, that politically incorrect part of ourselves. My great improv teacher said, behind fear is magic waiting to happen. Yeah. And I believe that to be true. And the other thing is, it's not about gagging and it's not about going for the laughs, it's just about being yourself and being present in the moment. So if I'm very dour and very humourless and dark, and you're quite giddy, that can be very funny. We can do a very funny scene without any planning to it, just by the fact that I have absolutely no sense of humour at all.
And
you're
high on life, and I think everything's
jealous.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that can be funny, and it's. I think from a mental health point of view, that's really amazing to allow people that cathartic thing to do, which you have to understand as an actor, because you get to pull all those dark things from your soul, you know. I'm very passionate about it because I teach it mostly, and I'm involved in a thing called the applied improvisation, where you take the tools of improv and you apply them to different areas of life. So I work in mental health an awful lot.
Really?
And I work with a group of blind people, and I'm starting to work with a group of teenagers in wheelchairs next week. So taking those tools and applying them to different places, and in businesses, and for leadership training, and just all kinds of things. It has like a universal application. I was adopted, and I was adopted into quite a challenging family.
what age were you when you were adopted?
Baby.
You were a baby.
Yeah. So that was that's an ongoing
And your
kind
dad?
of sadness into a family with.
What was
my
your
dad.
mom like? Or your?
Yeah, she had her own problems. She had
Did she?
problems as well. Yeah, so she had her stuff.
How were they allowed to have you so?
Different times. It was all very cloak and dagger. It was a different country and a different time, different era,
Do you
different
know?
century.
Do you know anything about your birth
Bits
parents?
and pieces. Bits and pieces. Yeah, bits and pieces.
What have you been told, or what do you?
He was married.
She was young.
She was. He was married. She was young. It's a cliche.
And you don't know their names or anything like that?
No.
And there's no way. Did you ever want to find out?
Yeah, no, that's not. I was born in Quebec, so it's the laws are different in Canada, in Quebec specifically, actually, than they are here and anywhere else. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
What age were you when you found out?
Oh, I always knew.
From when you were a small little girl?
Yeah.
How does that affect a human being? How does that
It's
affect
an interesting.
you?
Lots of people, it doesn't affect them at all. It affected me.
Yeah.
So it made me very, very solitary, I suppose. Very, what's the word? Like very self-reliant.
Did it feel? Was it because you felt isolated, or because you felt not part of something, or
Not part of something.
you thought it was
I
not?
wasn't part of something. Yeah.
Wow.
And I read a great description by Jeanette Winterson recently.
You love
I don't
her.
know her, yeah. Where she wrote a book called Why Be Happy When You Could Be Normal, which is about her adoption. And she said for adopted people, it's like they arrive at a play after curtains up. So they arrive into a family when the play's already begun. And I thought that's absolutely it, because, you know, when you look at, I'm a therapist as well, so when you look at family systems, you look back at generations to look and see what the patterns are.
Yeah.
You know, but if you just come down and you land in the middle of a system, what's gone before does affect you, but it isn't your story, and it's quite an interesting thing to think about. My earliest school memories are sitting on my own in the corner in kindergarten, drawing on my own. I was not a great team player, and sitting on my own in the corner drawing, and I used to get really, really frustrated because I just wasn't able to draw what I wanted to draw. And I'd sit and I'd shred paper up and throw it in the bin, and the teacher was really kind of like, Jesus. And so that was like my earliest memory in school.
So that was you were pretty intense and
So
already
I
passionate
think
about
so,
it.
yeah, I think it was a bit intense, yeah. A bit intense and insular and peculiar as a small child, yeah.
Were your parents encouraging when you were growing up and saying, I want to be an artist, or they said...
My father wanted me to be a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother wanted me to be a secretary,
Okay,
mostly.
right.
But they were happy enough with me to do whatever I wanted to do.
I've known lots of artists who say that in order to get work done, they go off into the studio, and it's like going into their little quiet world where
Yeah.
nobody's allowed in, or...
I do understand
Distraction.
that, because a lot of people think, oh, artists, they're just hanging around doing nothing. You know? Oh, actors, they're just... But it is definitely, it's a discipline. And,
Yeah.
you know, like when I'm making art, it's showing up every day and making marks till something happens if there's nothing going on. I have roots now because I have kids, so that's my roots. But yeah, it kind of is something that goes up and down. Sometimes it's a big thing for me, and other times it's not. So.
Did something change for you when your kids were born, when your first child was born?
No, what really changed for me was actually my mother died when I was 23, just 23. I've had some really good times as well, so we could focus on those too.
Yeah.
My mother died when I was 23, and I was having a great life. Actually, I'd come back from LA and I planned to go back there again.
Yeah.
But I had to move in and take care of my father instead. That was what happened to me. So he had MS. So at 23, gave up everything
No.
and moved into the family home to take care of my dad, which went on for 16 years. But I made a lot of art in that time, a lot of art.
There's no way that you can get out of the
I
physically
resented
caring.
him hugely.
Yeah.
No, I did. I'm human, and I resented him hugely. And
Yeah.
at times, I did consider what it might be like if I killed him. Really,
But why couldn't you just give him to the state?
give him to the state.
It's not a nice way of putting
That
it,
wasn't
is it?
even, that wasn't an option. That wasn't an option.
Just give him away.
That wasn't an option. Like what was done to me. No. That wasn't an option. There was no option like that I could see.
Really?
Yeah, that wasn't an option.
So that's kind of like being trapped, though. It's
So I was
been-
trapped. I was trapped. Yeah, I was trapped. But I did lots of good things that I wouldn't have done otherwise. So.
What
So
you
that's
channeled? Did you
happiness for me,
channel
is
all
you can
your-
decide what to focus on. It's over now. You know what I mean? That part of my life is over now. So, I mean, that's just a backstory for people who think that I have the absolute crack in life. That's the backstory.
I don't know, like, if you have any kind of a religion, if you have Catholicism or Buddha
atheist.
or spirit, you're an atheist.
I'm an
Don't
atheist.
believe anything bigger than us.
Well, I definitely feel like I'm connected to the world. I'd have a sense of connection with the world. You can call that spirituality if you like, but I don't believe in a little man in the sky who cares. There is no little man in the sky. If you say your prayers at night or you are a good person, I don't
So
believe
who does
that.
care then?
I
Our
care.
fellow man.
I care.
You care.
You know, I think where I come from, people are really religious and they just believe that it's an abdication of personal responsibility.
Really?
That's how I feel. Do the right thing. We all have a very strong moral compass. Most people do by the age of 7 have a moral compass,
Yeah.
and they know when they're doing wrong.
Yeah. So it's a case of just
Do
holding
your
true
best.
to your
Do
own,
your best. Yeah.
your own voice.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of therapy, and I just think that actually understanding why you behave in certain ways is the only way that can help you to change it. Like if you are constantly getting into bad relationships or having bad events happen to you, there's a reason. And the reason is probably you, not all men are bastards, or, you know, the reason is something that's happened to you.
Yeah. So by
So if you
looking
can
at yourself,
if you can understand that in your own life, and maybe it was because your father, you know, treated you in a certain way or whatever, and there's only so long you can carry that off, where you can just go, oh, my dad was a bastard, and now I'm
Yeah.
only attracted to bad men, or I
It
don't
doesn't
know,
really
whatever.
stick.
It doesn't really stick. But
So-
lots of people, you know, will never have the benefit of getting to talk that stuff out, or have the courage to do it either. So
yeah.
my favourite saying is, we never know who our teachers will be, so that can be anybody, and it's not usually the person at the front of a school. It's usually, it could be a kid, it could be some randomer on the street, it could be someone on the bus, I don't know, but just to be conscious that we don't know who our teachers are going to be in life.
What is it about laughing that just makes us feel so good? What is it about laughter in itself?
Well, there's an interesting thing in Ireland specifically, and this is only really happens in Ireland, is I start working with a group and I'd say to them, particularly older people, and I'll just go, when's the last time you laughed?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, I was at a wedding last week and I was absolutely locked, or I was in the pub last night and I was shit-faced, so absolutely hammered. And I go, no, when's the last time you laughed and you were sober? And there's usually stony silence around the room and everybody gets a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which is really, really sad. And a lot of people don't remember the last time they laughed. So my pitch always going in to work with businesses and things is that when you can get your team to laugh together, they love each other. They don't care how much you pay them anymore. If people are having fun when they go to work, they just, or fun anywhere. If people are having fun, they want to be there.
I think there's something incredible about Mo, because she's been through so much and life has been very difficult in different ways, and yet she chooses to laugh, to smile, to engage in the world, to get out there and communicate and find a way of enjoying life. And it's an inspiration. She says that the difficult times that have happened aren't there to drag her down, but to learn from. The people that have hurt her along the way, they were just her teachers. If I was trying to get a feeling of where her strength and determination came from, I would imagine that it's that she wanted more out of life. Even as a child, she was questioning and asking, who am I? Where do I belong? Why am I here? How did I end up in these circumstances? And then chose to strive forward, which is a perfect example of the human struggle and what we all go through, to overcome all of the odds and every obstacle that was put in front of her. She found a way of engaging with it as a heroine, not as a victim. And that's to be admired, and it's something that I'll try and take on board myself.